Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what has to be one of the most jaw-dropping conclusions to a major sporting event we've seen in a long time. We're going to break down the unprecedented, absolute meltdown of the defending champions Argentina at the 2026 World Cup. I mean, what should have been a massive celebration of the beautiful game completely descended into chaos. It sparked this huge global backlash and triggered some seriously intense investigations by football's governing body.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand the explosive end to this tournament, we have to start with this number, 0. That represents Argentina's total shots on target during their final match against Spain. Seriously, for a full 90 minutes of regular time, the defending champions were just entirely shut down. Even Lionel Messi, who, was having an incredible tournament up to that point with 8 goals and 4 assists, suffered the profound frustration of getting exactly 0 valid shots on target. You could literally feel it through the screen. The tension on that pitch was absolutely suffocating.
And, well, that tension completely boiled over in a way that left international observers totally horrified. Just listen to this quote from English football legend Gary Neville. He said, "It was a complete disgrace. While I appreciate Argentina's trademark fighting spirit and competitiveness, their recent behavior has been truly shameful." That grief assessment really hits the nail on the head and captures the exact mood of the global football community right after the final whistle. So, how exactly did we get here?
Well, here is our roadmap for today to untangle this messy web. First, 1. The World Cup final brawl. Then, 2. Political banners and bias claims. Next, 3. The massive global backlash. And finally, 4. Inside the FIFA rulebook. Section 1. The World Cup final brawl. Let's look at how the chaos actually unfolded at MetLife Stadium. So, Spain secures this grueling, hard-fought 1-0 victory in extra time thanks to a decisive goal by Ferran Torres, and the frustration for Argentina just erupts. Just before the end of regular time, Argentina's Enzo Fernandez gets a second yellow and is sent off. That meant Argentina was desperately trying to defend against Spain's relentless attacks for all of extra time with only 10 men. Then, the very moment the match ends, it escalates so fast. Malvinas suddenly punches Spain's Rodri in the chest while Rodri's running to celebrate. Then, Leandro Paredes kicks Eric Garcia to the ground, literally chokes him, and then forcefully shoves Pablo Gavi to the turf, earning himself a direct red card. It turned into this massive mass brawl that completely overshadowed Spain winning their first title in 16 years.
What's deeply fascinating here is the stark contrast in behavior on the pitch that night. On one side, you've got the rest of the Argentine team engaged in this explosive, violent group brawl. But on the other side, you have Lionel Messi. As pundit Joe Hart pointed out, Messi was basically the only person with dignity on the pitch for Argentina. He took the time to go and shake hands with every single Spanish player individually. It's just this striking image of a captain completely isolated from the physical aggression of his teammates.
Section 2. Political banners and bias claims.
Now, while the final was a disaster, the controversies, actually, scratch that, they began days earlier, right after Argentina's 2-1 semifinal victory over England in Atlanta. During the post-match celebrations on the pitch, several Argentine players, including Christian Romero and Giovanni Lo Celso, proudly held up a banner reading "Las Malvinas son Argentinas," which translates to "The Falkland Islands are Argentinian." This wasn't just a celebration, it was a highly charged geopolitical message broadcast directly into the cameras on a massive global stage. Just to give us all some historical context here, the Falkland Islands are a UK overseas territory. Back in 1982, Argentinian forces invaded the islands, which resulted in a brief conflict before they were forced to surrender. More recently, in a 2013 referendum, the residents of the islands voted overwhelmingly to remain under British sovereignty. So, compounding that heavy political tension were these really loud cries from opposing fans questioning the integrity of the refereeing during that exact same match against England. We're talking widespread online fan allegations, including a supposedly missed red card for Argentina, an alleged chokehold by Messi on Jude Bellingham, and these claims that Argentina was actually assigned their preferred referee for the game. Now remember, these are strictly fan allegations, but they spread like wildfire.
Section 3, the massive global backlash. When you take those perceived referee biases, combine them with geopolitical banners, and then top it all off with horrific violence after the final against Spain, the global reaction was just absolute outrage. Check this out. A staggering 22 million people signed an online petition hosted on a site called Argentina Out, literally demanding that FIFA kick Argentina out of the 2026 World Cup entirely. That's a huge number. The petition argued the winner had already been decided by biased referees and demanded a fair chance for everyone else. Plus, a totally separate petition on change.org gathered thousands of signatures demanding an independent investigation.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly public sentiment mirrored that outrage. In a poll run by the Oxford Mail, they asked readers if they believed there was favoritism towards Argentina and Messi in the tournament. A massive 80% voted yes. Only 13% voted no. To put that into perspective, it reveals this deep, widespread belief among everyday fans that the very integrity of the tournament had been compromised. And this disgust wasn't just coming from angry fans online. It came straight from the top of the sports broadcasting world. English football legend Alan Shearer stated on the BBC, "We have seen this side of Argentina too many times." Their reaction after the final whistle was truly horrifying. He specifically called out that Paredes threw strong punches at an opponent's face, adding that, yeah, losing is painful, but there is definitely a right way to lose.
Section 4. Inside the FIFA rulebook. Okay, so public outrage is one thing, but institutional action, the cold, hard rules, that's what actually dictates the consequences. Interestingly, there's direct historical precedent for that Falkland Islands banner. Back in 2014, after a friendly match against Slovenia, Argentina players displayed the exact same banner. The penalty back then? 0 player suspensions and a fine of about $38,000. Now, for this 2026 incident, FIFA has opened a formal investigation. But if we use that 2014 benchmark, reports indicate we're likely looking at another financial fine for the association regarding the banner, rather than sporting sanctions against individual players.
The Brawl, however, that is a completely different story. Now, you might be wondering, since the World Cup is officially over, do these players just escape punishment? According to the FIFA Disciplinary Code, absolutely not. FIFA rules are super clear here. Any unserved suspension penalties handed out during the tournament automatically carry over to the national team's next official match. There is no escaping it. And the specific penalties on the table are severe. If we look right at Articles 18 and 19 of the Code, because Leandro Paredes instigated on-field violence and got a direct red card, and because Malvinas threw a punch, both of these guys are facing major disciplinary action. We aren't just talking about a simple one-match suspension. We're talking about potential long-term playing bans for that on-field violence. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. FIFA's regulations are heavily designed to isolate the sport from both physical violence and geopolitical messaging. The Disciplinary Code explicitly states that competitions must remain free from political demonstrations and non-sporting expressions. Basically, using a sporting event to promote a message completely unrelated to football gives FIFA the power to discipline teams, and it doesn't matter what the sporting outcome was or if it happened during a celebration. Which brings us to the ultimate tension at the very heart of this explainer. We have watched 0 shots on target lead to unprecedented brawls. We've seen geopolitical banners spark intense international outrage and tens of millions of fans loudly demanding severe consequences. It leaves us all with this final provocative thought. When passion crosses the line into politics and violence, how should the beautiful game respond? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring how these governing bodies manage to balance the fierce, raw emotion of sports with the absolute necessity of fair play. Catch you next time.